All right, everyone, you're welcome to DTC, your number one channel for business and anything tech and personal development related. I'm here with Davisha L. Johnson, the founder and chairwoman of African Diaspora Collective. And today we are right here at the Assets event, and she made quite some profound statements when she sat on the panel. And I'm here to elaborate more on what happened on the panel discussion. Hello, you're welcome to DTC Official GH.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We want to delve into, as a founder of the African Diaspora Collective, we just want to find out, today is about trade, and we've seen a lot of people coming in from the diaspora, willing to trade in Africa, settle down. So we want to find out, what does the African free trade connect, or what does it mean to the diasporan community, and how are you tapping into it?
Okay, thank you for that question. So the diaspora community needs a lot of education in regards to the AfCFTA, but the ones that do know, we tap into the rules of origin. So the rules of origin state that it needs to come, the base products need to come from an African country, then you can add value to it and then send it out to the diaspora. So we, as part of the diaspora, are mostly a consumer-based market, especially African Americans. We buy a lot. So the way that we are tapping into it is the ones that do live here in Ghana. We then are able to come to conferences like this. We're able to network with SMEs and businesses that have products that they can put a made in Ghana stamp on it. They have a rule of origin from here. Then they utilize other diaspora and other parts of Africa to be able to move those things that we enjoy. So for instance, it could be orange fleshed sweet potatoes. Those are used a lot, but our community, the African American community, love orange sweet potatoes. So in order for a farmer here in Ghana to be able to grow these sweet potatoes and then ship them through the AfCFTA to an African American community in Kenya or in Tanzania is an automatic market. So a lot of people are having issues with market access. They don't know where they can then sell their products. But I spoke today about the international domestic market, or the diaspora that is here in Africa. We are hungry. So we also need to eat. Exactly. So if we are able to utilize these protocols, especially for women, also for SMEs, to show them that you don't have to have a relationship in China or the UK. There's relationship building and capacity building that can happen here in Ghana or in your local country, that you can still utilize the AfCFTA through the network of the diaspora, because we're across Africa.
Oh, that's great. So going on to that, you spoke about women on the panel, that women are basically, and it is not argumentative. Nobody can argue that that women are basically the foundation behind everything that is happening. And it seems that women are not leading the charge, are not given the opportunity to lead the charge. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Sure. I mean, it's the basics of when we talk about, I said it on the panel, it's called market women for a reason, not market men. So that's because 98% of the women in the 98% of the market is made up of women. Also on farms, there's at least 80% across Africa of farmers are women. But we have a very small, less than 5% portion in members of parliament and CEOs of companies. But as I said on the panel, most of the men that are controlling economies, that are controlling companies, they still have wives. They still have mothers. So they still have conversations with us on how to make decisions on what happened to them at work that day, what happened to them in the country that day. So women are the backbone, but we need to be more involved. And that comes through education, that comes through information sharing. I believe that Black people in general, as long as we have the information, we just take off. We dominate whatever it is that we're doing, which is why colonization, the number one thing was, do not teach people how to read. Do not educate them. Make sure you only teach them certain things, because our minds are so sharp that we'll be able to not only dominate, but invent. and innovate and create. We talk a lot about technology. Women and especially youth are very into technology. How do we tap into that? We utilize the diaspora. We utilize the diaspora that are coming here, that are being brought here, that are being asked to come to Ghana to develop. But what are we going to develop? We need to be developing people. We need to be developing relationships. We need to be developing communities in a sense that we need to be engaging with these women from the rural communities, especially the rural communities outside of the greater Accra region. They're neglected. People with disabilities are also neglected. These are pockets and groups of people that contribute to the fabric of Ghana. And women are part of the AfCFTA immensely because there's an entire protocol around women and youth. So if we weren't important, there wouldn't be an entire section of this Continental Free Trade Agreement specifically for women. So we have to mind ourselves well, as you say, and make sure that not only do we educate women on the opportunities that the AfCFTA brings, but we need capacity building. We need to be able to go to the north. We need to be able to go to the west. And we also, according to the panel, which I agree with, we need to translate these things into multiple languages so that people can understand. Look, if the farmer has not gone past secondary school and he didn't get an advanced degree, does not mean he's not smart or she's not smart. That just means that their smart is different than the book smarts. So where I'm from, we call it street smarts and book smarts. Some people go to college or in academia, they don't have experiential learning. So they go through all these theories, but they can't go to the farm and grow a tomato. Exactly. So how are they going to feed themselves?
They're going to rely on this.
They're going to rely on the farmer. And the farmer is seen as a lower person. And they're probably the most important person in this world because they feed everyone. So even the smart people, the president, he still has to choke. Exactly. So what are you going to do if you don't have farmers? So we need to empower the farmers. We need to empower rural farmers because that majority of the food that feeds the country is coming from the rural areas. The transportation, logistics systems, and all these things brings it to Accra. So a lot of people, when they eat their food, they just think they're eating their food, and it just comes. It doesn't just come. Someone is spending time with those seeds in that dirt, with that water, and pruning and taking care of those vegetables to make sure that you can enjoy. So we should pour that same energy into our farmers and our disabled and our women and our youth when it comes to the AfCFTA. If we do not, then the AfCFTA will just be another document on a piece of paper.
That is, it is assumed, it is such. It is assumed. I've been speaking to a lot of SMEs, and my major concern here is about our market. If you look at the African trade market, realize that almost 80% is in the informal sector.
It's true.
And that has also been a problem. And you spoke about people leading the charge who are not businessmen.
Oh, it's true.
Do you think there's a way to capture all these informal sector, formalize it,
yes,
such that they will be able to support the trade movement to enlarge the capacity of the African trade?
Absolutely, 100%. So there's a model in Kenya, because I was speaking to one of our Kenyan farmers that's part of our Chamber of Commerce, and I was asking them about the informal sector. Is it the same as in Ghana, where you have hawkers in the middle of the road, you have people just set up a table on a random day and now they're working? Yes. I've seen it and I thought about doing it myself. So because it's just very interesting how there's such an energy behind business here, and knowing that you can go from your house and cook something in your house and go outside and set up a table and start selling, that's a business. You have created an entrepreneur. That energy behind entrepreneurship is alive and well here in Ghana. But it's the formalization of putting it together properly in order to build the capacity that's necessary to really compete with everyone else that's coming into the market. So in Kenya, they do have people that sell on the roadside, I'm told, but it's all a formalized industry. You need a license, you need to have psychosanitary conditions, you need to have certificates. There's no reason why we can't do that here in Ghana. The problem that I see, or the challenge, that the solution to the problem that I see, is again falling on education. We don't have to always depend on the government to do this because, as I said in the panel, most of our government leaders are not business owners.
Yes.
So you can't tell a business owner how to run a business if you yourself do not have a business.
You don't even
How?
understand the principles.
You don't understand the interworkings of the long nights that you have to stay up. The fact that you can't go to this party, you can't go hang out with you can't go do this because you're working on your business, especially as an entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs are also women. Most entrepreneurs are also youth. That's why assets and the startups and SMEs are so important in Ghana with the AfCFTA specifically because in America was built on small business. That is what drives the economy. In America, Black women are leading in education and we're leading in business ownership. The same thing applies here in Africa, in any African country. It's going to start with SMEs and entrepreneurs and women. And now it's going to start with getting youth into entrepreneurship. So I think at the end of the day, in order to run a business well, you have to understand the dynamics of the mindset of a business owner. And if you're not a business owner yourself, it's easy. You go partner with someone that is a business owner. You provide the capital, they provide the business.
Exactly.
It's a partnership. And the public-private partnerships that can be developed with governmental agencies don't have to happen with the president. It doesn't have to happen with the minister. It can happen with the smaller intergovernmental organizations that work with the larger governments so that you can build relationships, quality relationships over time. So I think the AfCFTA is going to be implemented only when we take a better look at how we integrate women and youth into the SME sector using the protocols in place.
All right. It's been an amazing moment speaking to you.
Thank
a chunk
you.
of information out there that our viewers can tap from.
Yes.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. We are glad having you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank
All right,
you.
so this has been a wonderful moment with Madame Davisha, the founder of the African Diaspora Network. Or did I get it right?
African Diaspora Collective.
African Diaspora Collective. Catch you in another episode for yet another wonderful conversation. Bye.